Welcome back to AutOdometer. Today we're going to be changing the spark plugs in my 1999 Toyota 4Runner. You're going to need a couple tools here. Doesn't take much to change the spark plugs. A screwdriver, 5/8 inch socket, 10-inch extender, and a torque wrench. You also might want some hand cleaner like myself, just because I don't really like doing work on my cars when I'm wearing gloves. You're also going to need 6 spark plugs because it's a V6. We have the 5VZ FE engine here in my 4Runner, and it takes the 2 electrode type spark plug. We also have the spark plug number here located on the spark plug just so we can check it with the manual. It's the BKR5EKB2. I also chose the NGK plugs, and typically with the NGK plugs you do not have to add the gap. You have the spark plug type here in your manual, and as well you have the spark plug gap in millimeters and inches. Just in case you didn't get the NGK plugs, you might want to check the gap. So you put the gap checker here between the electrode and the extender right here on both sides, and for the 5VZ FE engine it should be around 0.043 inches. Once you check the gap and you're okay with that, you have to take off the air intake system. You have a couple wires or tubes here to take off. Take off the evap off of the resonator. Take off the, I believe that's the part of the PVC system. You also have some electrical things to disconnect. You also have another resonator tube to disconnect. Once you have the 2 wire clamps or hose clamps disconnect with your screwdriver, it's going to take a little bit to get this out. I found it easiest to pull it off of the throttle body first, and then off of the air filter box, and then slip it out the back. When you take the spark plug ignition coil packs out, you want to make sure that you don't squeeze too hard on the electrical connector. All you have to do is squeeze hard enough just to get it over this lip right here. The first one I broke, the second and third I was able to squeeze just enough and pull the electrical connector off. Once you have all 3 electrical connectors off, it's a simple 10mm bolt right here, and just do it for all 3 coil packs. Then you can take the coil packs out, be careful, and pull them out slowly and gently. You also at this point might want to check for any cracking here on the ignition coils. It's a good thing to do. You also may want to clean up any of the valve cover oil leaking right here. You also might want to stack them up here just so they don't slip down and pull any or have any tension on the spark plug wire. Now you're ready to take the spark plug out. Get your wrench and 10-inch extender, and then just crack it loose so you can unloosen it by hand. You want to make sure that when you have the extender down here, you're keeping it as straight as possible so you're not stripping any of the aluminum threads here on the cylinder blockhead. Here's number 1, and you can see what the number 1 spark plug looks like. You can see that the electrodes have started to recede a little bit from the electrode in the middle. Here's number 2. Looks just about the same, but maybe a little bit more white fuzz here, or white little particulate dust on the electrode. We also can compare the new versus the old, and you can see it was definitely time to change the spark plugs out. Notice the tapering on the electrode as well as the 2 prongs on the side started to recede back. Go ahead and tighten up by hand. It's the best way to do it without stripping it with the torque wrench first. Finish tightening up the second and third, and now you're ready to use a torque wrench. Now I believe I used 13 foot-pounds. I've also seen 18 foot-pounds, and on some forums I've seen people say just tighten it up till it's snug and then give it a quarter turn. So here's what the spark plug ignition coil pack looks like. Put a piece of tape over it, the clip that I had broken. So now we move over here to the driver's side, and it's a little bit more tricky. There isn't that much to take off, but to be able to get the torque wrench exactly flush straight up and down without bending it, you're going to have to take off this ground cable here for this first spark plug on the driver's side. You can see that as we push up the extender, we can't really get the extender right in the middle of the spark plug hole, which eventually would possibly strip the spark plug, so we don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do here is remove this diagnostic little port here, pull that off. That'll help us get to the the second and possibly the first one. Then we unloosen the ground cable here. We also remove the bracket that is holding the throttle cable, and take the ground cable and just bend it out of the way. Remove that first spark plug here on the driver's side, inspect it, and I'm pretty sure we are running at a lean condition here, so we'll be changing the fuel filter here in a little bit. Hopefully that will change it. From what I was reading on forums and this Garage Amino app that I've been on, I found out that some people were saying white tip spark plugs could mean a fuel lean condition. Go ahead and move to the next spark plug here, take it out, inspect it, and then replace it with a new one, again using 13 foot-pounds. Now this last one here, closest to the driver, it's a little tricky. You don't have to remove anything to be able to get to it. It's just kind of a tight space. So pulling off the ignition coil pack can be a little difficult, but keep trying and eventually you'll get it. We compare here the old and the new, and then finish up. Also, another good thing to do is check for your ignition coils and make sure that they're pressed down all the way. Reconnect this cable bracket here for your throttle cable, and tie up some loose ends and make sure everything is in the proper clip. Go ahead and start her back up and see what she sounds like. If you enjoyed that, leave a like, and if you have a Toyota 4Runner, subscribe to the channel because I do plenty of fixes on the 1999 Toyota 4Runner. Thanks for watching.